Hello, welcome back to the Luxe Budget. Today I am excited. I wanted to move into like a crisper white wine, and I don't think that I've done a Sauvignon Blanc grape here yet. So I didn't just want Sauvignon Blanc, which is grown in California, New Zealand, France, other places too, but those are probably some of the most prominent areas. I wanted to try something a little bit more historical and specific to France. So I went into my wine store looking for a Sancerre, this is where wine gets very confusing when you don't know the ins and outs, and I'm still learning them, but a Sancerre is a region, it's a village in France, and because they have very strict laws, there's just a lot of regulations on what can be described as Sancerre. So it has to go through certain production methods, it has to be grown a certain way, it has to come literally from the village of Sancerre. So because it's very historical and very famous and they don't produce very much Sancerre, the bottles that they had available at my wine store were a little bit out of my price range. I think the lowest bottle was like $45, which isn't crazy, but that's just not what I want to be spending on a week-to-week basis on a bottle of wine. And it kind of goes against the entire purpose of this channel. So when I asked for an alternative that would stay in France and kind of hit the same boxes, they pointed me towards this Menetou-Salon, which if Sancerre is on this side of the Loire River, Menetou-Salon is right across it. So regionally speaking, they are very close, which means that their growing conditions are going to be very similar. And because they're both in France, they're probably going to have similar regulations on what they can do to the wine and in their production process. So this is a good example of just kind of tweaking what you're looking for. I wanted a French Sauvignon Blanc. I got it. It's not exactly what I was looking for. I wanted to try a Sancerre proper, but I figured I would try this first, and if I really, really liked it, I could upgrade to the Sancerre. So that being said, I have not tasted this one ever. Not a Menetou-Salon, not a Sancerre. I've obviously had a Sauvignon Blanc, but I am really excited to try this. I've heard a lot about, I've tried a lot from the Loire Valley, that general region, but nothing so specific. Oh, shoot. Silly me. So we're just going to take a small sip today. Maybe not so small, I don't know. I'm really curious if any of you have really specific wines that you like from France. I think that's what I'm prioritizing right now, because there's just something about the taste and the feel and the history from French winemaking. I know Italy has something kind of similar, but for whatever reason, Italian grapes and I just don't tend to get along very well. I don't like Chianti, I don't like Sangiovese grapes, which I don't like Pinot Grigio. They tend not, I'm sure there are some, like the rosé that I had last week, fantastic, loved that. The Nebbiolo grapes, delicious. So I'm still trying to pinpoint where I like wines, like where I typically like them to be produced from. And in my experience so far, France has given me the most reliable, the most consistent things that I've really enjoyed. So that being said, let's have some wine. Okay, so first step, I'm actually, by the way, little news from me, I'm studying for my WSET level 1, which I think is kind of easy if I'm being honest, based off of the course material. I know most of it at this point, but WSET is kind of like a different type of certification exam that you can take when it comes to wine. So whereas most people think of a sommelier, which is the person that comes at the restaurant and tells you what wine to do, it's very service based. So if you're going into hospitality, like restaurants, working at a hotel, anything like that, you would want to go and get a sommelier designation. WSET has more entry level, so like levels 1 and 2 and even 3 to a certain extent are very, like, it's good to know for people. It's not like you have to work up to something higher. And then as you get higher up in level 3 and level 4 is the highest, then you start having credentials that make you eligible for a career in some kind of wine related capacity. So I'll keep you posted on how that goes. I'm taking my examination at the end of April. So hopefully I will be a WSET level 1 and then I can move on to the next one from there. Okay, back to the wine. This is very pale, which is not surprising considering that we are looking at a Sauvignon Blanc grape. It smells very crisp, almost grassy. And it almost has like a petrol smell to it, which I don't know if that's very common for white grapes. Actually I think it is when they're grown in cooler climates. I'm not sure, but I'm getting very grassy, very herbal. Yeah, and then there's like almost a gasoline smell to it. And it doesn't smell bad. You know how it's just pungent. I don't know. This is interesting. It doesn't smell like it's going to be very fruity. It doesn't smell like it's going to be sweet at all, which most wines aren't sweet, but let's give it a little swirl, see if anything else opens up. This is really interesting. I've never smelled a Sauvignon Blanc that is this like earthy before. And again, this is a Menetou-Salon 2022 vintage. I'll link it in the description. All right, now let's take a taste. Whew! That is so good. Oh, it does taste kind of how it smells, but it is so goddamn smooth. It tastes like pineapple and citrus primarily, but I almost get like a little bit of a grassy taste too, in a good way. It makes it very herbaceous and refreshing. It's not quite as acidic as I'm used to tasting for Sauvignon Blanc grapes, but I kind of prefer it actually. It's still very refreshing. It is still very crisp, dry. But it's more, I would say more pineapple-y than it is citrusy. Ooh. Oh, by the way, this bottle was $28. Just so you know. Ooh, I like this one a lot. I actually might like this one better than the one last week. Okay, now I'm just thinking pairing wise. I can see myself going like a pasta route with like no, maybe not creamy, but maybe like some kind of pasta with like a oil or butter based sauce, but not too creamy, not like an Alfredo or something like that. And then maybe some like capers or salty, tangy, zippy type of flavors. Or I could see myself leaning back into like an Asian cuisine, doing like an egg tofu scramble and letting those umami flavors balance this out. It could really, I'm gonna have to think on that. But I think this is gonna be a really good pairing week just because the wine is so good. Although we've had times before where I really liked the wine and it just didn't, and I really liked the food and they just didn't quite mesh well. And that's frustrating, but it's very educational for sure. Okay, I'm gonna take one more sip. I'm gonna have to do like a list of my favorite wines that I've tried on this channel so far, because I think that these are all ones that would be really great to just have on hand to be in like cultivating your cellar over the years kind of thing. Maybe some of them wouldn't age that well, but you know, everybody kind of wants something to have for when guests come over. My personal dream is to have a wine cellar one day. We'll figure it out space-wise. This was delicious. This is definitely above a 90 on the Wine Spectator scale. I need to think about it a little bit more. I'm thinking it's probably around like a 92, 93. Very good. I will post the link to this wine. I will also be posting later this week with our pairing. So stay tuned. Let me know if you have any comments or suggestions on what to pair this with. And if you've tried a Menetou-Salon or a Sancerre and you have any info, anything you want to share, let me know. Cheers.